This is an exam question about photophosphorylation in photosynthesis. It says name, so we've got to include the name of the part of the chloroplast where photophosphorylation takes place. So if you were given a diagram with different labels A, B, C, D, you couldn't put a letter, you have to put the name. I want to know where photophosphorylation takes place. So that's using light to add phosphorus to produce ATP. So the name of the part where that takes place, it obviously takes place in the photosystems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. There's two different types of phosphorylation, cyclic and non-cyclic. We'll come on to that in a minute. So the part where this photophosphorylation takes place is in the granum. You can say thylakoid, and you can say lamella. So they're the parts where photophosphorylation takes place. It then says there's a flow of electrons during photophosphorylation. This flow is either cyclic or non-cyclic. State the three end products, so there's three of the end products of non-cyclic. Cyclic phosphorylation is where the electrons are recycled from the photosystem, so the electrons are promoted to a higher energy level, they travel through electron transport chain through a series of proteins, and the electrons end up back at the same photosystem. So that's cyclic. Non-cyclic is where the electrons are then passed on to another photosystem. Those electrons are then excited, pass through another series of electron transport chains, and ends up joining with NADP to make reduced NADP. The energy lost as these electrons travel down and through the electron transport chain is used in the membrane to pump through sodium ions, hydrogen ions from the stroma into the thylakoid space. And it's this concentration of hydrogen ions that then will be used in chemiosmosis, travelling through ATP synthase to generate ATP. Obviously, if this is non-cyclic, these electrons that have been lost in the first photosystem need to be replaced, and that's replaced by the photolysis of water. And a product of that, a waste product, is oxygen. We also get 2 H pluses and 2 electrons, and the electrons replace the electrons from the photosystem, and we have oxygen produced as a byproduct. So the three end products then of non-cyclic, and this is non-cyclic as I've said, where the electrons pass through the two photosystems and end up joining to NADP to form reduced NADP. We can write that down as our first product. Now you can write NADPH2, NADP reduced, you can write reduced NADP. Second product is the hydrogen ions that are pumped through into thylakoid space, then travel through ATP synthase by chemiosmosis. and they cause ADP to be phosphorylized into ATP. So we are producing ATP. And the third and final product is the electrons have to be replaced in the photosystem, and they're replaced by the photolysis of water. A waste product of that is oxygen. You can write O2. So they're the three end products of non-cyclic photophosphorylation: NADPH, reduced ATP, and oxygen. If this question was about cyclic phosphorylation, then the only end product of cyclic phosphorylation is ATP, because the electrons don't end up joined into NADP, they're recycled back into the photosystem, and because we don't need to replace the electrons with photolysis of water, the end product is not oxygen either. So only ATP produced in cyclic photophosphorylation.